Dumela Mutabarwa, and all seekers of African progress. Today we confront a challenge as bold as it is urgent. And that challenge is a blueprint for African unity, a blueprint anchored in our shared heritage, a heritage that presents a real actionable opportunity right before us now. Let me ask you, what if African unity is not merely a distant dream, but a concrete, practical path forward? What if that path begins here with two nations, Lesotho and South Africa, both rewriting colonial borders, rescuing a 6 billion rand project, and forging a new constitutional future that secures our shared identity? Let me tell you, for Lesotho and South Africa, unity matters. As we all know, African borders are scars of colonial design, arbitrary lines drawn to divide peoples, cultures, and economies. Lesotho, a nation entirely encircled by South Africa, is the perfect case. The people of Lesotho and those of South Africa share bloodlines, share language, share histories, yet artificial separation persists between us. The urgency is undeniable. Lesotho's 6 billion rand irrigation and HIV and AIDS livelihood project stands at the edge of collapse after the United States funding withdrawals. This threatens thousands of jobs, threatens food security, and critical HIV treatment access. Should it fail, South Africa will bear the consequences. The consequences in the form of illegal migration surges, strained public services, and regional instability. This is no longer just about saving a project. It is about embracing the undeniable truth. And that truth is that our fates are bound together. Lesotho and South Africa's fates are bound together. The question is, how do we transform crisis into opportunity? And the answer is by envisioning a voluntary federation where Lesotho preserves its cherished monarchy and South Africa its proud republic, both united under a federal framework. To achieve this, both nations must understand and undertake bold constitutional reforms. For Lesotho, they need to look at amending sovereign clauses to allow for voluntary federal integration while preserving the king's constitutional status. They must redefine legislative and executive powers to distinguish national versus federal responsibilities. They must harmonize judicial frameworks, ensuring cross-border legal coherence. They must provide dual or unified citizenship, enabling Basotho to live, work, and trade freely across the Federation. For South Africa, we must amend the Constitution to create a formal mechanism for incorporating member states like Lesotho. We must adopt republican frameworks to constitutionally recognize monarchical systems within the Federation. We must clearly divide federal versus states versus provincial powers, particularly over foreign policy, defense, economic regulation, and healthcare. We must reaffirm constitutional supremacy while crafting a shared federal charter. And we can do that. We can do it. We don't need to go to America, the United Nations, or any other country. We can do that ourselves. Okay? But there are joint steps that we need to take together, both South Africa and Lesotho. As two nations, we must establish a joint constitutional drafting commission of traditional leaders, political representatives, legal scholars, and civil society voices to create a federal constitution. We must allow referendums in both countries to ensure public consent and legitimacy. We must grant formal constitutional recognition to traditional leaders and indigenous leadership structures, blending modern governance with African traditions. We must harmonize physical, land, and resource provisions to enable shared economic development, cross-border investment, and joint infrastructure projects. You see, we can move from crisis to renaissance and reap the benefits. And there are many. Think about them. Economic growth. Economic growth, because a unified market with harmonized laws boosts trade, investment, and jobs. Saving the 6 billion project allows South African firms to supply irrigation tech, renewable energy, and expertise, igniting growth on both sides. Stabilizing the Lesotho reduces migration pressures on South Africa, mitigates public health risks, and enhances regional stability. There's also traditional leaders. Traditional leaders gain formal standing in governance. At the present moment, they don't. African solutions designed for African realities. We replace outdated aid models immediately and put a spotlight on global leadership. And it's simple. When foreign funders retreat, Africa rises. When foreign funders retreat, Africa rises and unites. We prove to the world we are the architects of our own destiny. Let's do that. Let's do that, Lesotho. Let's do that, South Africans. We can do it. And this is a model for continental integration. Success here sets a powerful precedent. Who follows next? Eswatini? Will they follow? Botswana? Will they follow? Namibia? Will they follow? Zimbabwe, Mozambique? Will they follow? You see, a federation stretching from the Cape to Zambezi. That should be what we are looking at. Rescuing the 6 billion rand project becomes more than a policy act. It becomes a continental signal that African nations invest in each other. We challenge dependency myths and forge a new political and economic architecture driven by unity, dignity, and shared purpose. The road ahead is not narrow. It is wide open. We must act now and build tomorrow. The path is clear. Let's rescue the project, South Africa. Mobilize South African bilateral aid, SADC funds, and development bank support. Deploy private partnership to deliver irrigation systems and secure livelihoods. We can do these things. Let's empower the people to decide on federation, ensuring legitimacy and avoiding elite-driven agreements. Yes, we can do these things. Let us launch public education. Let's communicate the value of integration, from shared pensions and healthcare to free movement and collective security. We can do these things. Let us draft the federal constitution. Let's bring together monarchs, elderly, youth, and civic voices to write a constitution blending democracy within African governance, grounded in mutual respect. This is no longer a political theory. It is a people's movement. The 6 billion project is the spark. The federation is the flame that continues to burn forever. What are we scared of? Let's do this. Basotho say, motto, ke motho ka batho ba bang. A person is a person through others. One's existence is living proof of the value, presence, and dignity of others. South Africa and Lesotho are not separate destinies. They are one soul, divided by old lines waiting to reunite. Saving the 6 billion rand project is not just about money. It is the ultimate proof that we are stronger together. A federation is not a surrender, it is a sovereign partnership designed to secure the future of two proud nations. Share this vision. Speak to your leaders. Organize in your community. The African Union will not save us. We will save ourselves. Let's remember that.